Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm in Bahrain. It's cool. I'm so happy. It's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year.
It's been a year, and I think this is our fourth or fifth interview with Timekeeper.
Yeah, but I'm never tired of them. So you've always got great questions.
Not only that, you're the most on our Timekeeper, because you know we're a huge fan of what you guys do. And this year we feel it's a bit special because I want to congratulations on the winner.
Thank you.
How do you feel about it?
Look, we don't create for prizes. I mean, I haven't created 20 calibers in case one day I was going to get a prize. The GPHG prizes are always really nice because they're heartwarming because it's your peers who are judging you. So that's really important, so especially as they've opened up to the academy, which is 600-700 people. The Aiguille d'Or, I can tell you that they don't warn you before. So I was absolutely sure we had no chance. So what they do, I'm revealing secrets. They basically call you the day before to know if you're going to be there. Because if you're going to win something and they announce you and you're not in the public, it's a big, very embarrassing moment. So when we get called, I know we've won something. And we said, should we know something? And they said, no, nothing special. Like, is there anything special? No. So I was like, okay, I arrive, we win Mad 1. Boom. I'm just basically sit down like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And then the Gronefeld win the chronograph. And I'm like, okay, we won Mad 1. And there you go. And then the last moment, Jean-Christophe Babin opens the envelope and it's us. Like, whoa. And if you saw my speech, you could see that was very emotional for me. It was a really emotional moment.
No, honestly, a lot of companies, as you said, maybe they don't produce watches to get prizes and such, but it's a very nice thing to get, especially from peers. And speaking about this watch, we never spoke about it on our Timekeepers. Like, where did the idea come from? How did you start working with Steve?
So, Stephen McDonnell, as you know, created our perpetual calendar between 2011 and 2015. So he spent 4 years on that. In 2016, he's invited to Dubai Watch Week to do a little presentation. Dubai Watch Week was very small in those days. He comes over, it's the first time he's in the Middle East, and I take him out to dinner. And that week, I had just bought at Christie's a pocket watch, which was a split-second chronograph, an old Tiffany pocket watch, beautiful, really beautiful piece. And I'm showing him, I'm so happy, like, oh, look. And Stephen just looks at it and goes, yeah, right. You're not impressed? She says, it's not that I'm not impressed. He says, look, chronographs make no sense. I'd already heard that 5 years before about perpetual calendars, so my ears went, What do you mean? He said, as soon as you start a chronograph, you lose 20 to 30 degrees amplitude. Why? Because of the last wheel of the second's hand has to be, engaged. Otherwise, the second of the chronograph goes like this. It has to be like that. And he said, yeah, but all chronographs are like that. He said, yeah, but at the moment you need it to be precise, your movement is less precise. And he said, and the minute counter, most chronographs are jumping minutes. That means that you lose another 20 degrees when you jump the minute. And he said, don't get me started on split-second chronographs with all their, embrayage, all their clutches.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a disaster. I'm like, okay. I feel very humble because it's a thing I took for granted because that's how it's always been. Like most things in watchmaking. I said, look, so do you have an idea? And he said, I have an idea, but I'm not ready. This is November 2017? 16. And in January 2018, so over a year later, he comes to see us and he says, okay, I've got a solution. To create a chronograph which doesn't lose any amplitude when you start it.
Amazing, yeah.
And from there onwards, he built, now we've got possibilities. Now we're not using any energy. we can actually do this, and this. And I'm looking at it, it's like, really? We can do that? I said, yeah, we can do that. It's not going to be easy, but we can. And there you go. January 2018, May 2022.
You know, so
4 years later, we've got this incredible chronograph. So you're dealing with somebody who's a very, very special individual. Stephen is not your usual human being. He's got a way of seeing things which is very tunnel vision in a good way. He lasers in, and he's obsessed. He's completely obsessive. So when he goes into something, he goes right to the end, and it's very tough for him. It's very hard for him, and he's in great suffering when he creates. And I know it. And when he finished the Perpetual, he said, "I won't have the force to do another one." And then he did the chronograph, and at the end of the chronograph, Monday, 10 days ago, he was telling me, "I can't. I just can't. It just consumes me. I suffer. You don't realize that." And he's not asking for more money. Huh? It's like it just uses him up completely.
Yeah.
And he says, "I don't know if I have another caliber in me." So that's what I was referring to in my speech of how emotional it was, that that he's given us 10 years of his life. He's given us those two calibers.
Because when I asked you that before, because the legacy machine was something you said never, but then you told me never say never. And now when we're not only seeing the legacy machine, we're seeing the spot really on the legacy machine, starting with the Perpetual, not going back to the split and such, but the Perpetual was, let's say, the grand complication introduced to the legacy machine, right? And then the new chronograph. So we have so many to come. Still, if you're saying that about Stephen, like...
So, in this case, it really depends on Stephen. We've got other ideas, of course. We're working on all sorts of other projects. But when Stephen revolutionized the Perpetual and now the chronograph, we know that if he's ready to start a new caliber, it will be something which you've never seen before. But we have to give him time. And we have to give him time and maybe he won't. And if he does start, it's going to be 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So I'm 55. I told him, don't wait till I'm 70, please. I'd like to see a third caliber if you have the time, if you have it in you. Yeah.
And the spotlight being on the legacy machine, horology machine. Now we have something coming up soon.
Finally, next year is a HM year. It's a horological machine year, because the last HM came out March 2020. I always remember that month. It was the Bulldog.
The Bulldog, yeah.
So next year is HM11. It'll probably be October next year. So it'll be 3.5 years that we will not have
finalized.
And it's all there. The prototypes are being tested. Everything is all, and it's a really, really, really cool piece. It's spectacular, and it's from a new world. Meaning, it's not going back to my childhood. Okay. I'm finally growing up. Next year, I'm going to be 18. The company. So I'm like, now I'm a young adult. I have to stop going back to my childhood. And this piece, which we've been working on for the last 5 years, is the first of a whole new chapter we're opening for MB&F HM. So I don't know how people will react. Maybe people will hate it. But it's something I'm very excited about.
That's very good to hear, because as you said, going back to I'm a huge fan of the horology machines more than the legacy machines. But yet, are you still considering the wearability of the watches?
So a few of our top retailers have seen the HM11, put it on their wrist, and they were blown away how easy it is to wear.
Because the Bulldog looks weird. I had it for like a full day, almost full day with Ali, and we were like around in Dubai. And it's weird, that's very comfortable. But yet again, when you see it, the dome, the jaw and everything. So that's really
it's a big job. HM11 will be even easier to wear, even though it's pretty spectacular.
Amazing. I have a question that you answered, I think, an hour ago. I was about to ask you, who are you partnering with this year? And I was at the booth and Cedric say, we're launching a new watch. You just launched a new ladies watch.
The Emmanuel Tarpin, absolutely.
Yeah.
We launched it an hour ago, exactly.
Yeah. Can we have some details, because I don't have it, and I have a question here saying that what is your next project with who?
So, you know, the flying tea is the first time I created for the women of my life. And it's also a canvas I want to offer great jewelers.
Okay.
I'm not a jeweler. Stones are not my thing. I was able to put some normal stones, a few baguettes. My world stops there. I'm a watchmaker. And so, as you saw last year, was the Bulgari
one, yes.
This year, Emmanuel Tarpin. There'll be others. They all. I have to really thank also Jean-Christophe Babin, because he was the first big brand who had the courage to do something with us, and it's opened a ton of doors. Since that collab happened, suddenly a lot of people are willing to hear what I have to say. But before, the door was closed, shut, locked. Even at the window, I was like that. It's like, no. And so now suddenly that's opened a lot. But actually, I sat down with Emmanuel before I sat down with Fabrizio. I mean, I've known Fabrizio for years, but we started talking about a collab with Emmanuel. Emmanuel is a superstar, but nobody knows him. He is of that new generation of individual creators, like a very, very famous person called Jarre in Paris, who's arguably the greatest living jeweler. Jarre, for 50 years, has been creating pièces uniques. He does whatever he wants, and you have nothing to say. And if you like it, and if he likes you, you're allowed maybe to buy his piece.
Wow.
And so the super high clients have been going after Mr. Jarre. And Emmanuel is of that new generation doing the same thing. He only does what he loves. What he does is spectacular. And he only does pièces uniques. So I sat down with him in Paris summer of 2019. He never worked on a watch. And he saw that our philosophy is very close. We never do bespoke. We never accept anything special from our clients. It's the way we see the world, and that's it. And he said, okay, let's do this. And during lockdown, actually, he sent us a gouache. He still works by hand, paint. And these two incredible pieces. And if you look at now, because some of the photos we've just published, you actually see the original drawing he did and the real piece.
I didn't have a chance to.
So he's incredibly inspired by nature. And he's French, but very close to Switzerland. He's a great skier, mountains and all that. So he did a theme all about snow and ice. So one is called Ice and the other one is called Blizzard. And he was basically inspired by the fact that when you look at a flying tea, it makes him think of a snow globe. You know these things you see in airports, which I buy for my kids, which you turn around the balls and you've got all the snow. Super tacky. But it's something in all our childhoods at some point. And I agree. And he saw that, and he basically transformed these two pieces into snow globes.
Nice.
And the jewelry was insanely complex, because you have the impression that these diamonds are actually stuck to the sapphire inside. But they're not. They're all done in micro casting and micro setting. And I was really impressed how he knew exactly what he wanted. I mean, from his first drawing, it was like, again, lasered in. And we're like, okay, okay, we'll do it. And we're doing only 2x8 pieces for the whole world, which initially was like, let's do piece unique. So, whoa, this is going to be really complicated to deal with. And so we did 2x8 pieces, and we just unveiled it today.
That's good, because I think in your last interview, you said something about working with Ilanis, and that the first edition he did HM2 for you. Remember that story? Yeah.
So
weren't really happy
HM2 in 2009, then LM1 in 2016. But now Alain is on so many collabs going.
Going back to that, during your interview with Wico from Revolution, that's the last interview I saw, you said that when you got the first sketches from Alain, you weren't like, oh, that's different. That's changed during the years now?
I've learned to accept that it's not what I expect. And again, what attracted me to Emmanuel Tarpin, he works a lot of aluminium, black aluminium. It's very contemporary with white diamonds in it. And again, I was expecting something like that. And he comes with a snow globe. Okay.
No.
But
Beautiful.
it's been a big I mean, from 2008 and that first sketch from Alain to now, 14 years later, I've learned to let go. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Speaking of ladies' watches, which, to be honest with you, we really don't do them justice, like when it comes to watchmaking. And now MB&F has only one watch, right? The tourbillon. Are you planning to do something without a tourbillon or something along the split seconds? Split escapement.
I think we have to think size for ladies, and you can't have a 44 millimeter. I mean, you can, but that's gets. If I'm going to do something for a woman, it's going to be for my wife. And she has got chicken wrists. It's like tiny wrists.
Yeah.
So already the flying T was really complex for me to make it as comfortable as possible on such a small wrist. So I am working on something which is much smaller. But I don't want to talk too much because I want to surprise her. She probably doesn't listen to your podcast. I'm sorry. So I'm pretty much okay. But I'm working on something. Give me a couple of years. Something which is, I think, will amaze the world because it's not at all what you expect from us.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take much of your time, and I want to end with the Mad Editions. You won an award for it.
Yes, we won another award. Still cool.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, the whole watch was like a side project for you.
It definitely is.
Became a huge thing for introducing, let's say, or getting a wider audience. Went crazy. The blue one, I still remember when he announced it in Geneva, I saw so many people winning it. When I see it, I feel it's more special to me, or like it's more unique than a Patek unique piece. Like, this is how you made it. You made it in a way, no announcement, nothing. Friends, tribes, and friends from the back of the, from the early days of MB&F. How do you feel about the project right now?
I cannot even convey how terrified we have been over years over this project. How we were so much angst, so much, oh my gosh, what are we doing? You know that basically it was a product I created in 2014. And it was going to be another brand, and then I killed that brand in 2018. Not only did I have cold feet, it was also I just didn't have the time and the energy to have a second brand. So when we finally decided in 2020 we're going to go ahead and do it, I think COVID allowed us to be even much more reckless than we were before. We are.
What worse can happen?
It's like COVID was like, you know what? Just let's try all sorts of things, and so I allowed myself to come out with that piece. What really makes me proud on this is that we launched this piece in 2021, and in October 2021 we sat down with part of the team to define the why of the company. The why. Why does this company exist? For me, it's very clear why MB&F exists. Is so that I am proud. Everything I do, on a human level, on a creative level, on everything I do, I want to be proud of it. And I am. But for my team, you can't ask them every morning to come to the workshops, to the benches, or to the office so that Max is proud. That doesn't work that way. So I said, we have to sit down and define what makes you proud, not me. And they came out. It was amazing. We had a facilitator, and in 20 minutes, we more or less had the thing. I'd blocked half a day, you know. And what was incredible was the why was never about watches. And I was very proud of that. Because MB&F is way bigger than just, and don't get me wrong, watches are my life, but just creating watches. And the first thing which came out very quickly from these brainstormings is MB&F is here on this earth to inspire people to think differently, to inspire people to be more creative, to inspire people to take more risks. If what we've done in the last 17 years with virtually no money can inspire you in your little world, your world, to do something as nuts, well, we'll be very proud. The second thing we realized, the why, is we build communities. The brand was called, from the beginning, Unfriends.
Yeah.
So it was initially all the artisans who transformed my ideas into reality. Then it was the retail partners who were crazy enough to take on the brand. Then, of course, it was the clients who were nuts enough to buy the product. And we called the tribe.
Yeah.
And so we realized that everything we do is there to inspire people to think differently and to create communities. And then we look back and we realized that Mad One is the perfect example of that. Absolutely perfect. No $150,000 watch brand artisanally made would ever create a watch at 2,900.
Yeah.
That's committing suicide.
I know.
On top of that, everybody knows that watch products at that price point are usually boring.
Yeah. Oh,
And
definitely. Yeah.
you don't create anything nuts at that price point. So we did two things which defied normality, which defied what you should be doing. And what we did is that we kept it, first of all, for the friends and for the tribe, for the community. And it became a badge of honor. I see my clients who've got multiple MB&Fs, when they wear their blue Mad One, is like,
That's exactly what I
have
said.
it.
Yeah.
I have it. And I never anticipated all of that. We did it all intuitively. And now we realize it matches exactly the why of our company. And now anything we do, if it doesn't go into those two categories of the why, we don't do it.
Amazing.
And because we used to do it intuitively, and now it's become mantra. That's what we do at MB&F.
So let me end with this question. At MB&F, the tribe became a very big thing. People are proud, wearing your watches, loving them, and so on. Does this make it easier or much harder for you to create and come up with something?
So it's exactly, it's a twofold thing. One, I have many more ideas of products, sorry, which I want to reserve only to the tribe, which are not watches. I'm working on all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It could be a clock, but it could be all sorts. It could be a skateboard. Okay. Let's make a really cool skateboard and reserve for the tribe.
Yeah.
So, I'm working on all sorts of things which I would like to, things which I want for myself, and I'll reserve for the tribe. So I'm having so much more fun.
Okay.
The secondary aspect, which is a problem, is the the expectations.
Yeah, that's what I feel like now.
The expectations after 20 calibers and 17 years and a Mad One and all sorts of other things is, I believe, very high. The tribe expects me to wow them each time, and I won't be able to. It's not possible. Now I'm more or less at peace with that. I was not at peace for many years where I was like, oh my gosh, my clients are going to be disappointed. I'm more or less over it, because I realized that if I'm excited by something,
they will.
There's a little chance that they'll be a little bit excited by it. So yeah, there's the pressure is on.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to sit and speak with you, and we hope to get you more sooner and a much longer conversation. I want to go back deep.
Definitely. Thank you so
very
much.
much.